and I have about 1.5 gigabytes left on my phone. So I'm not really sure if that's going to get us 2 hours. I think it will.
Here's Annie.
But we may be cut short. It may be a shorter session today, unless the Wi-Fi magically kicks back in.
All right, let's pray for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Let's send good energy to the Wi-Fi.
So thanks always for tuning in, and you can send donations to those links on PayPal or Venmo. We really appreciate it. It helps to continue this, pays for the Zoom costs, and supports these free sharings. What else? That's all. So we'll begin. Hello, and we say good day to you this moment of your time. As the Pleiadian Council, we are very pleased to come to meet you and interact in this way. We speak on behalf of Galactic Alliance and many other guides who are supporting your planet in this grand process of ascension. And it is always our thanks to you for every interaction you allow to take place between your human reality and these higher realms, allows for you and others to mutually expand in all that is to expand through you, through your experience of coming to know yourself as source within this incarnation, and coming to experience yourself as one aspect of an intricate web of all of creation, knowing that every aspect of you is connected with many other parts of this grand web of existence that you can tap into and experience within yourself at what you call microcosmic levels. So our thanks, and now we have some general discussion today before we begin with your questions. And the subject we would like to speak of today is what you consider in your language the concept of an ego. What is the ego? Well, an ego is something that, to an extent, you all need in your process of individuation. And as you come to go into more spiritual and connected states of consciousness, the ego can start to become problematic. Yet, at its core, it is something that serves you and has a purpose. So, there is much confusion about what is an ego. Many people associate this term with having a prideful or an arrogant ego. Oh, they have a big ego. Well, in a sense, you all need to have a well-developed ego. You could consider a well-developed ego as big. So this language itself starts to deceive you. And the ego helps you to grow into the world. For before you enter into an incarnation, you have a complete connection with Source, and you know yourself as Source. And so babies and infants bring that wondrous, otherworldly presence of love and joy into the world until they have to adapt to being an individuated aspect of Source. The ego is what helps individuals learn what is theirs and what is not. So as you continue to develop, this ego of yours helps you become an self-providing, self-deciding aspect of creation, and you are able to move from your family into creating your own life. And this is all well and good. And none of this would be possible without that ego itself. So ego becomes, again, problematic when this idea of value and worth and many other things of that nature start to play out in comparison with others. And also when you start to see that this distinction between you and others makes you different from them in a way that separates you from them and makes you so separate then that you cannot align and exchange energies and come to remember that you are, despite being individuated, one with everything, one with all others around you. Again, this most universal law that you must always remember. And the more you bring into your experience, you will start to wake up out of illusions again and again, is all is one and the one is in all. And so, whenever you find yourself thinking that you are either better or worse than another because of some quality or ability that you or the other has, you are in this state of what many call illusion in the mystical traditions. You are seeing from a limited perspective that is not helping you to explore how everyone's unique gifts and everyone's unique expression adds to creation in the most beautiful and aligned way. And so it is important then to be able to see, again, the qualities you have in common with others and be able to integrate them as a part of yourself. Now, we speak of this because there is, by and large, a spiritualization of the ego that has been very common in your world and sneaks into many of these different circles of conscious development. And the very concept of I am being spiritual is a spiritual ego. The very concept of I am working towards ascension, I am an ascended being, is ego. The understanding really is this process of enlightenment and ascension is not changing you in a fundamental way. It is only changing your perceptions about reality and coming to remember that you have never ever been separate from source, that you have never ever been separate from others, that the light has always been within you, and hence you are always enlightened. And the best way really to experience more of that inherent enlightenment is to lighten up. So you must, in a way, loosen these ideas that come to separate you from others. Because again, while there is a splitting of realities, in order to go into those higher tracks of realities, you must see all of the potentials and every soul involved as your counterpart in some way, as a reflection of you, as another aspect of source. So who is the one that really ascends if the ego cannot ascend? If you cannot say that I am spiritual and then somehow imply that other people are not or not as spiritual, who is really ascending? Who is really enlightening? Well, it is the experiencer. It is what some call the witness, the consciousness itself behind the workings of your mind and the workings of your body and the workings of your heart entirely. It is the part of you that witnesses and perceives. And as that part, it comes to see from higher perceptions and perspectives and allows this higher frequency energy in to shatter the beliefs that would keep your consciousness stuck in lower vibrations. You truly raise to source consciousness, And a true source consciousness also understands that everyone else is equally a part of source, regardless of whether or not your ego likes their ego's behavior. You are source, and your ego is actually source as well. Now, what many instead do is come to see that they have achieved this and this spiritual gift. They have practiced and applied the teachings that we and others have shared about creating your reality and changing your beliefs to attract the experiences you prefer. And once they have done that, then they start to internalize their success in a way that they think they've got it all right. And because they applied this and this spiritual tool, they are now this wondrous spiritual being of light that is more spiritual than others. And there's even many jokes about this now that some of you aren't quite getting. So we have to say it in this way to remind you that the truest awakening, the truest connection with source, will never make you feel better or worse than anyone else. It will never bring you to live through this sense of superiority. And that energy itself is the best way to, again, fall to a lower vibration, because the energy of ascension moving through your planet will really not support for a prolonged period of time those who have ascended egos. You must love your ego. You must have a good sense of who you are and love yourself in that way. Though, when what you are seeing in yourself and what you are seeing as lovable is something that you see as totally your own and not part of the collective potential that exists within everyone, then you lose the ability or diminish it to express a true and complete unconditional love. And that is the energy that allows you to open to telepathy. That is an energy that allows you to really transmit a frequency of love that others can palpably feel simply through your presence. And when you live in that way, experiencing everyone as source with you, you can exchange these loving vibrations and raise the vibration of those around you without having to speak or teach anything. It can come out through your body language, your dance, your artistic expression. You do not have to teach or guide in order to transmit this higher spiritual energy. While that is something that, of course, you may do, when you really access it, it simply emanates from your very being. And it expands more and more in every moment as you continue to follow your passion and joy and love and experience the great wonder that is your incarnation on earth today. So, a general message as things are developing in your world, well, we would also say you can now come to experience that many are going to have that experience of waking out of their illusion of separation. And now you have your planet of Venus going direct again. And so soon you will start to see more love, beauty, and connection. There is still this great purgation happening on your planet. And those of you who have been finding your own inner equilibrium during this are going to find more of the time that even as things get more intense, you yourself will be able to expand more of what really resonates for you. And all of the chaos will not be a burden, because as you sink into that center and find the stillness in the storm that is your heart point itself, that is never changing, only expanding to more love, none of that outer chaos can really bother you. And again, it is important in that process to be able to see that everything that is playing out is a universal expression. And within you, all of those same workings happening at a collective level are operating in your own inner microcosm. And knowing this as you work out those issues in your microcosm, you can then be the change in the world that reflects back outward to the bigger picture, the macrocosm. All right, well, that has been a wondrous transmission, and we hope you have benefited from it and come to understand some things from it and have been able to reflect in deeper ways. And now we would love to continue by answering your questions and reflecting in the ways that can best serve you and the collective at this time. So you may begin at any point that you wish.
Kevin, would you like to unmute and ask your question? Do you have a microphone? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask his question. He typed it in. Hi, all. Happy to be here. I would love the council's perspective on my role in the hybrid project, specifically the gray Moss A project. Let's start with that question.
All right. Well, yes, this occurred for you at some point earlier in your past. And the hybrid children that have resulted from this are ready and willing to contact you if you should open to your experiences with them, opening to your dream time, asking and inviting them in, understanding that any challenge or trauma from this experience that is left over or residual can be cleared by recovering those memories. It may be helpful to do some guided regression or hypnotherapy to support more uncovering of those experiences, as there are details that you could serve to pick up upon. And of course, that this experience has also added some powerful impact to your own DNA and allowed you to grow in some ways. So you are always connected to those beings, and you may continue to develop that connection simply by reaching out and allowing the information to be received. Know that there's nothing to fear, and that your hybrid children and the other extraterrestrials that would come to contact you are very benevolent. So it starts by inviting them in and following your passion.
And another part of this question is he's wanting to know about his son Xavier's role in the project as well.
So far, he has not been involved in the project, though you may make that correlation because he does come with a certain amount of that extraterrestrial DNA, specifically Pleiadian DNA activated, so he may seem a bit otherworldly. And the energy he's bringing here is to really support the process of ascension itself, much like many of his generation.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kevin. And Chris, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. This might be a little tricky to convey, but I'll do my best.
All right.
So I work with a lot of different practitioners, coaches. I follow a lot of different spiritual teachings. I tend to hop around and play in a lot of different pools. And there's one coach in particular that I have been working with quite deeply for the past 2 years or so. And just so you can scan it, her name is Reverend Ginny Brown.
All right.
She's been completely instrumental and helpful and God-sent in my processing and my shadow work and my healing and helped me to understand so much on my journey.
All right.
So she's been a very valuable reflection and manifestation in that way. And I do continue to work with her, and others.
Yes.
And yet there's this sort of rigorously skeptical philosophical part of me that has tuned into the Bashar teachings and the Abraham teachings and knows that it creates its own reality or navigates to its own reality. And so sometimes I wonder if I'm getting lost in a sort of healing trap or a hall of mirrors effect where I'm getting lost in an illusion of truth by tuning into, it's kind of a question of can I trust what the universe is bringing me to help me in my processing, or should I like strip it down to get to something more pure? Because I find that it's a kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, she's extremely helpful and valuable to me when I'm have something to sift and sort through, but on the other hand, I don't want to ground, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
It's kind of a general question about trusting, if the universe is manifesting something for you, a teaching or a teacher or a guide, can you just trust it and go with it and live it out? Or should you be skeptical?
Certainly not. Skepticism is what allows you to practice discernment. And so, we would especially say that do not immediately trust anything that comes from anyone. Channel being, we have to say, also with channeled beings, understanding that there is a filtering process through the channel themselves, their beliefs. So you must weigh everything against your own heart. And if the information you are receiving fills you with a feeling of love, of hope, optimism, and with the sense that you are capable and worthy, then that information you can likely trust. If the information brings up doubt or fear, then we wouldn't trust that information. Either you may be misinterpreting that information through your own fear-based beliefs, or it could be information that is layered with different levels of fear-based beliefs. So skepticism is well and good. And now getting back to the entire question, well, we would ask you, are you using these guides and their teachings as ways to sort through your own negative beliefs?
Yes.
All right. And are you uncovering negative beliefs?
Yes. And learning to be more comfortable feeling and grounding and being present with myself through all the stuff that arises.
Yes. And is the process of looking through these negative beliefs allowing you to be more capable and competent in following your passion and joy?
I think on the whole, it trends that way. Certainly when I look at it, though there are times when I perhaps get not stuck, but it's interesting. Because I have this guide, it serves as a kind of it gives me a level of permission to continually go into the processing. And so I don't know if I'm doing a lot of work very quickly with their help, or if I'm disempowering myself and keeping myself in a healing trap.
Well, there
I
are
think it's the
aspects of
former.
both.
Yeah.
Well, they are helping you. You are uncovering things. Though you may find that there are certain moments where the tendency to question and be prepared and so on and so forth prevents you from just jumping in and acting upon your passion. So one negative belief that you can understand and you don't need to get rid of in order to act upon your passion is that making mistakes can be a true detriment, that making mistakes is wrong or shameful. Because again, if there was nothing that held you back, you would expand to higher states quicker. If you didn't question things that felt right in your heart, then there would be so much more energy free flowing to allow you to get where you're going quicker and allow your vibration to be higher in that process.
I really feel that, and the of course there's an emphasis there on the balance point between, you know, not complete asceticism of give up every helper completely, but also don't give yourself away. And that's where I think that's why I'm bringing this question up, is because I'm feeling in my heart that sometimes there's a big strong yes, this is helpful, I'm so glad I did this, I'm glad that I paid this money, spent my energy, did this session with her. And then other times it feels like I'm giving away too much of myself, I'm like wasting my energy, and that doesn't feel as good. So it's just about deepening into my center and like trust, like doing it when it feels good, but when it doesn't, simplifying and taking care of myself until I'm in a place where it does feel good again. And
yes,
yeah.
Well, remember, when you meet all of your needs, you automatically will thrive. So your existence in that sense is not so complicated. You have the basics down. And so if you can express yourself openly and freely and relate to others in some degree, then you will have everything you need to thrive. So you can explore this idea of a therapeutic process with all of existence. That instead of needing one particular mirror to reflect to you your negative beliefs, all of reality is your mirror all the time. And when you realize that and are comfortable being seen as a human, really, not even as flawed, but as developing, being able to see the ways that you are developing and let others see that without fear, then there, in a sense, will be less of a need to fine-tune with one or several specific individuals. And when you feel the call for their particular take, for the particular angle that they reflect to you, that allows you to see a very particular blind spot, which is you could consider their specialty, then you will feel it and you will know. And it feels like you are wasting energy sometimes because it can be a way of hiding into that one particular reflection, when the reflection you really need is a broader, more universal reflection.
That makes sense. And that's, yeah, I know that feeling, and I've been in that more open space, and that's actually what I'm craving and wanting to get back to, and that's why I'm asking this question. That's really good. Thank you. And also there's something in there about realizing that it's not a waste of money, it's not a waste of energy. Like, yes, I'm getting some good guidance that's telling me to come back to my own experience, but also it's not as though I've messed something up by doing too many sessions with her up to this point, because it served me, even if it's just served me to learn how to come back to myself again. And
yes.
If could I ask one other quick question before I jump off?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Cool, thank you. And so this is there's a lot of people visiting my house right now. I have my my sister and my brother-in-law, and my mom is going to be coming through. And with Mars square the nodes last night and today, there's been some frustration coming up to process around what feels like little things. Like for me, and the moon's in Virgo too, it feels like the dishes have been driving me nuts, like absolutely nuts. Having other people in the house making dishes, not washing dishes, and I've been noticing that I've been getting stuck on it, and that, and on one level I want to let myself process it. Like I said, Mars has been squared the nodes. Oh, great! Like this is a part of me that's never been allowed to feel safe being frustrated, angry. Great, I'll let myself feel it. I'll validate myself. I'll love myself. But then there's another part of me that's guilty that I'm not being with my family in love and appreciation and ease while I can be, you know, that I'm not focused on what's really important. And so I'm just navigating this energy of sharing space and wanting some more control, but also wanting to let go of the small things and show up in love. Um, and maybe that's just what I'm doing here, is like getting centered again, getting a little more peaceful, starting my day off as best as I can, and giving it another try. Not getting stuck on, okay, yesterday I was frustrated. Doesn't mean I have to be frustrated today. But
Yes. Well, again, you are remembering that you are a new version of yourself in every moment, that you are shifting through these billions of parallel reality windows. And yes, emotions, it can vanish instantly without suppressing them when you really give yourself that pause point. And letting go of the need to figure out the emotion sometimes is helpful. And instead, understanding what you need to find relief from that emotion. So if clutter and chaos is frustrating, then that simply means you have a need for order. And if you can acknowledge both the emotion and the need that is behind it, and express that need from a space of balance and equilibrium inside, then usually those issues will vanish quite quickly.
yeah, that makes sense. And I do feel like this has been helping me to just see that I want my own space so that I can come from a more balanced place and show up in love the way I want to. And that maybe that means giving myself a different setting at some point. And I'm trying to use it as motivation to go for my projects and my passions so that I can have my life be even better. But
Yes.
that makes sense for now. Yeah, I can just recognize that the frustration is telling me that I like order, and I can try to make some for myself, and I can love my family and just move through this time as best as I can.
Yes. Yes, and giving yourself space at times is helpful when you really need to turn inside and find all of the power and energy there, and turning outside is well and good at other times, and simply honoring that within every emotion there is a need that must be met, or there is sometimes a belief that says you cannot get a certain need that you are some way already meeting. And so sometimes that is also part of it, is remembering that there are already ways what you need is being provided for you. So continue to be open to all sources of how you can find that grounded, stable connection.
Excellent. Thank you. It's good to be back here, and I appreciate your input.
Oh, our great thanks and love to you as well.
Great, thank you, Chris. And Michael has a question. He says he would love to know how to see a way to utilize storytelling, and in particular, the hero's journey for personal change and transformation.
Oh, yes. Storytelling, this is a universal way that ideas have been exchanged, and many have come to discover the universal nature of archetypes and characters and qualities that exist within everybody. So in storytelling and this idea of the hero's journey, it generally means from going from a very lost or negatively based state to one of redemption, of one of passion, of one of recognizing the oneness of all and standing for the benefit of all beings. So the idea of that relatable character, and well, many relatable characters that represent these different archetypes is key. And also when there is this clear plot coming from a point of conflict or challenge into that peak, into redemption and resolution, it in a way engages the human consciousness more. The most important thing with storytelling is to allow it to be fun and exciting for you, allow it to bring out the unique ways that you see these archetypes that are universal. And when you simply allow it to flow from you, it will vibrate at that higher frequency energy than it would if it was a more meticulous and forced way of going about it. So we tell stories in a different sense as we come to meet many different consciousness forms and realms. Yes, we encourage you to explore this process more and more all the time. Realize as well that storytelling is in a way exactly what is happening to you in the influence of both your entertainment and also your media. So the way that consciousness is engaged through the stories that are told is very telling of the intentions and agendas behind those telling the stories. So some of the stories that you may wish to tell, in a sense, can undo those ways that you have been lied to within some of the most common stories in your world.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is our sound all right on this end?
Your sound is great.
Oh, all right.
So I've got, Joaquin, are you going to ask your question? Or do you want me to ask it? Well, we'll wait a moment and we'll see what the answer is. Okay, I guess I'm asking it. Let me find it. Okay, so Joaquin wants to know about, excuse me, 3 pyramids that were discovered in Bosnia. And are these real pyramids? If yes, what is or was their purpose? I love those pyramids. Yes. I love those pyramids. Okay.
Oh, these are most certainly real pyramids. And they were created at a time post-Atlantis. Understand that the Atlanteans moved to many different parts of your world after that, some through Egypt, some through Greece, and then, yes, some into this area, you know, as Bosnia and the other Balkan states. And this was one of the first civilizations that was established and quickly decimated. And these pyramids were a way that they could establish a lasting connection and impression that could hold the frequency of their energy and their civilization through the next times. And they created here knowing it would not be discovered for a much longer time than the other pyramids to be created not long after. And so when you connect here, you can tap into a very primordial energy. And it is a healing and resonance chamber, much like most pyramids. And if you have the opportunity to go there and you feel the call, there may be some special things to receive there. Are we still connected?
Yes, we are connected. So our next question is from Mehul. Mehul, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hello.
Hello, yes.
I would like to ask a question about, well, I've been confused since your last few transmissions when you talked about a psyop between two negative beliefs. I wanted to ask, like, if the Trump administration really was against us, who conducted the arrest of the pedophiles and the destruction of ISIS then?
Yes. Well, understanding that these are competing forces, there was some affiliation between those who support the current president and their gang, so to speak, and those who came to arrest these certain individuals in the pedophile rings. So it was, in a way, set up to create a stronger platform for the president, as, again, these two negative groups compete. So many of the bits of evidence and the sorts of propaganda are set up to reflect to those who choose to look into it the validity of that.
Great. Thank you.
Does that make sense? Is there more?
May I ask one small other question?
Sure.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, what are my starseed connections?
Yes. You are aware of the connection to Pleiades, yes?
Well, I'm not really aware. That's why I'm asking. I'm curious to know.
Yes. That is one running connection for you. Another is with the Arcturian beings, and these different connections can serve different purposes. So by exploring meditation on our energy currents and allowing us to meet you in your dream time, you may discover much more. At this point, the Pleiadian energy is generally focused on the idea of opening the heart. The Arcturian energy is very much aligned with fine-tuning, working out details, aligning energy systems, tapping into vibrational medicine, and expanding your knowledge. So together, there can be many intuitive expansions that come when you tap into these frequencies.
Great. Mehul, did that answer your question? Are you complete? Okay. Shantika, would you like to ask your question?
Hi, you said, is it for Shanika?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Shanika. Yeah, for you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm a single mother, and I have 3 girls, and I've been, on the path of like spiritual awakening and, doing different things to awaken myself, but also just being busy in the world and a parent and trying to fit everything together. So I'm just wondering just about guidance and if I'm on my path and, like my soul gifts and strengths and, if I'm on the right path, because I have so many interests and things that I love to do.
Yes. Well, generally, are you following your passion and excitement in life? In all the ways
Yes.
that you can? Yes. Well, we see there is much knowledge, much ability that you can channel to be of greater service and also support yourself, that in a way you may think of this as more complicated than it needs to be. So in addition to doing what you are already doing, could you consider ways that you share your gifts with the world and also receive even more abundance through it?
Yes, I feel like that's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
All right. Well, what pathways would be most exciting for you?
Well, I mean, one pathway that I'm passionate about is like midwifery and helping women, give birth.
Yes. And you can work towards that, though we are saying now there are already so many talents you have that could be shared with the world, yes?
Yes.
Have you considered helping people learn what you have learned already through being on this path for so long?
Yes, I feel like that's something I want to do. I just have to find out a mechanism or a system of delivery.
Yes. Do you have a sense of how you would like to do that?
Well, I can teach like yoga and meditation and things of that nature.
Yes. And nutrition, this word is coming for us.
Yes, that was a strong passion of mine, like starting out, and it still is.
Yes. And don't you suppose you have some degree of mastery over that?
Yes.
All right. So there are many now who are awakening to come to see they must take better care of themselves. So beyond teaching groups, you can also provide one-to-one support in finding the ways that people can change their beliefs and their behaviors to be healthier in everything they do and everything they consume as well.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And you don't need to work as much to figure out the pathway as much as see how it can be rather simple when you share the knowledge that you have and offer to others that you have this gift, this service of supporting them. You can study, if you want, a bit of back knowledge, you could say, of this idea of coaching, of mentoring, to simply help you get a sense of what to not do more than what to do. And with just a bit, you'll get the ball rolling and you can see how your unique presence, your unique embodiment of these higher truths can reach very specific individuals in a way that others may not be able to reach them.
Thank you for that.
Oh, yes.
I just have one little last question, if you don't mind me asking.
Yes, yes.
Okay. In 2014, like I was doing like a lot of Kriya yoga as taught by Babaji and Sri Yukteswar.
Oh, very
And
exciting.
I had like a 2-week period where I was like totally awakened. I felt like Christ, the Buddha, my heart center was just like, just cosmic. And it was just a great experience. And I often wonder, like, is that my natural state of being? Can I get there, or can I get back there? Or was that like a one-off experience?
Oh, no, you can return there. And that is, in a sense, your most natural state. So, in a way, by remembering how that felt like and remembering the sensations in your body, as well as remembering the specific thoughts or revelations that came to you, maybe journaling them or making a sort of art montage that helps remind you of those feelings and those ideas, can in a way help you naturally return to that state. And these practices of a more, you could say, extreme nature, where the kriyas and the exercises very much push your energy body to expand, help you break through the veil. And in order to maintain that connection, you must, in a way, authentically be living your own highest joy, understanding that belief systems and behaviors that are out of alignment with your true passion will often shroud you from remembering that state. So if you can find ways to invoke more passion and to cut away any behaviors and thoughts that can keep you from living your truest passion, that state can return to you. And of course, it doesn't hurt to also attempt those practices or similar practices on your own once more. Though understand, in order to maintain that state, you have to, in a way, be living divinity in every moment.
Yes. Thank you so much for that insight.
Yes, our thanks to you as well.
Laurel, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Sure. Okay. I was intrigued by your discussion about the ego, and I'm wondering, I have wondered this before because I've somewhere in my reading I've come across that we need to have a strong enough ego. I think it's a concept of the cross, the vertical and the horizontal being, I guess, the human experience of the ego. I've wondered from time to time if my ego is well developed enough to actually help the spiritual part of me.
Are you, to some extent, individuated, living your own life? Having a self of concept that does not depend on other people?
Say that again.
Is your concept of self dependent on other people?
Yeah, to some extent it is. And I feel like I have missed a lot of experiences that some people have had, partly because my focus is complicated, but it's partly because my focus has been so much on the spiritual that I haven't traveled a lot. And sometimes I envy people that have had a multitude of experiences.
Yes. Well, experience is helpful, though it is, again, action and belief in every moment that allows you to be fully who you are. So what in those experiences do you suppose people have gained that you may not yourself yet have?
Well, I should have included in my question that that I have had a lot of experiences of a certain type, but they're not what I see a lot of people having. I haven't had many pets. I haven't actually. I think it's part and parcel of, you know, this feeling of, you know, everybody else is out having fun and going to movies, and and it never seems like I have quite enough time to or money to have varied experiences.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as for time, it is really a matter of where you invest your energy. And for one, it is not a matter of comparing your experience to others. For remember that everyone's passion, everyone's excitement, everyone's purpose that is based in that passion and excitement really is unique and their own. And so while others may have passion for certain things, your passion is generally unique. And the more that you, in a way, compare yourself, the harder it is to really discover what uniquely works for you.
Okay. And as far as time, I've had this way of being that I guess it's because I'm very right-brained, and that sometimes the left brain is a difficult thing, like navigating an unemployment insurance thing took me many, many hours. And when I had a career in special education, writing the individual education program took me hours and hours, and I didn't see it happening with others. So I get consumed with things that seem essential, and then I lose the time for doing something that I'm more passionate about.
Well, are all of those things really essential?
Well, I got out of special ed early.
Yes.
I didn't think it was essential when I could found I could do early retirement. You know, in terms of the unemployment insurance and my confusion therein with forms, I don't know. I felt like it. Part of me wanted to just say, "Oh, heck with it. I'll be okay without the extra, you know, the needed."
Well, we are not talking about this specific thing. Of course, that is to a degree essential, though we are saying that not everything that you lose yourself in is essential. And even some of those that are, you may find that some support from people who are more left-brained, who are able to process that information quicker, helps you get it done very much more easily.
Yes, I need to ask.
Yes. Understand if it takes you several hours, it could take them a much shorter amount of time. So never fear that.
Yes, thank you.
And also do not worry if that your ego has not been fully developed yet. You can still continue to expand. We don't see you as not having a developed ego. All you must really do is, again, continue to follow your passion, continue to raise your own vibration, and be of service to others, because that service is really one of the most powerful ways to continue to individuate, as the reflections you receive when you are of assistance help you come to see yourself more clearly and see the unique gifts you have.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, great. Thanks to you as well.
Katrina, would you like to unmute and ask your question? Are you there, Katrina?
Hello.
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 Yes.
Good morning, everybody. I have two questions because I don't understand two manifestation mechanism. So I will go ahead since we don't have so much time, and you answer how you can, okay?
All right.
First thing, I don't understand why Bashar says we have to take action in our alignment to solidify in the matrix, because I don't understand why we cannot do only meditation and elevate the vibration and then manifest. And the second question is, since we have multiple personalities and multiple identities, what makes the shift in ourselves to allow to let go, use less belief? What makes the shift? I don't understand. Thank you.
All right. Let's start with the first question. We may need to clarify the second one. So, the language of your physical reality is action. And for example, if you were wishing to win the lottery and you meditated upon that, but you never took the action of buying the ticket, do you suppose you could win the lottery?
Yes.
If you never bought the ticket, you suppose you could still win?
Money, it's energy. It's come from everywhere. So if I have the right definition, I can earn this money without buying the ticket.
Well, that is not really the way we see your reality.
3D perspective. Like I have to buy the ticket, like a permission slip.
You have to buy the ticket, yes.
Okay.
If you want a relationship, you have to go on a dating site or go to a bar or go to interesting groups that are relevant to you where you can meet people. You cannot simply take a walk and expect to meet them just sitting in the park somewhere. Of course, that actually does happen. Though, when that happens is when people are very passionate about the idea of going to the park or playing in the park or presenting something in the park. So, again, action is what allows this higher frequency of passion to be manifest. And when you are simply sitting and meditating, your brain will stay mostly in certain states of consciousness. You will go through the theta and the delta, though this gamma frequency and the alpha frequency, the higher states of concentration, brings you into a more energized place where different energies can flow through you for manifestation. And you have to get accustomed to being both in that deeper relaxed state and in a very energized, excited state, because it is the contrast back and forth between the two of them that is most supportive for you in your evolution. So again, actions, they allow you to raise in frequency. Actions allow you to experience all of the joy of your physical reality. And actions are what allow you to meet and interact with others. Understanding that most of your expressions of passion that raise your frequency require interactions, require others to receive what you are producing or what you are experiencing or sharing, or even the bigger manifestations of passion require others to come together in some sort of community. And so you cannot really meet others without taking action. Meditation, in the sense, can set you up, can help you get the vision, though the action is required for manifestation.
Okay, the action, it's a permission slip. We say to the universe with the action, yes, I want it, so I now solidify it for me. It's like a permission slip because it maintains ourselves in some higher frequency. That's right?
Yes. And in order for the permission slip as well to work, you have to do it for the sake of passion and let go of your insistence on the outcomes. So again, you are taking the action because it is helping you access a higher state of being. You may hope and intend to get a certain result, but you also must be open that the result you get is different than what you intend, and that you see the alternate results that you could manifest as potentials to grow and learn, and again, continue to act on your passion in other ways.
Okay. Okay, so do and let go will maintain us in the two brains different states that will allow the solidification.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
And your next question was, again, about shifting personalities and different belief systems. Yes?
Yes, because last time you said we are connected to every kind of identity. So human identity and it is identity. So we seems like every day to being stuck with our human identity. We are with our useless belief systems. So I don't understand what makes the shift. Let's say I want tomorrow awaken and wake up and be more, have more self-esteem, more love for myself. What will make the shift? Because if I do the shift with the brain, it will not work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, these beliefs are not an intrinsic part of your human personality. Your human personality can be fully love-based and fully free and open. And again, this is, in a sense, emphasizing as well the importance of actions, because actions also serve you as a permission slip to show you you are capable and you are worthy. So if you focused in meditation on the thought, I am abundant, but you never went out and experienced abundance by receiving this or that other thing, even if it is going to the grocery store and buying some food and that being your abundance. If you didn't do that, you would never have any evidence to affirm to you and let it sink in that you are abundant. So when you have an intention to shift a belief, you must understand that all beliefs are totally optional, and you are all intrinsically worthy and valuable aspects of creation. And so if you want to see yourself as worthy and valuable of one certain aspect, you must in a way go out and get it. And the more you get it, the more that new belief will solidify itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, our thanks to you as well.
Oh, sorry about that. I've got two calls on. Hold on one second.
It's very interesting sounds.
Okay. I know. I'm on the phone and I'm on the call. So hold on.
Oh, all right.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I've got some questions from Facebook now, and so I'm going to go ahead and ask those. Natalia wants to know about pop songs and pop music, and how they play sometimes pop music backwards, and it has satanic messages. And she is curious of how that affects us in conscious or unconscious levels, or if it has any meaning, these backward messages. Okay, did you understand that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of these songs are created intentionally, but it is not really that many. Many of these just operate through that principle of synchronicity, that by playing it backwards, the true vibration of that song is revealed. Now, you can generally understand that those things that will lower your vibration will be quite direct and transparent when there is violence, when there is perversion, when there is anything that places the material pleasure above the divine pleasure of spirit. Implicit within the lyric or content or the videos, there is something that is being broadcast that is, yes, negative. So this doesn't mean that you cannot listen to it and mitigate these energies. It is only when one takes this information in and is unconscious and is not questioning it and is allowing it to, in a way, be data banked and stored in their brain and energy field, really, that it becomes of detriment. So understand that if you are hearing it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to affect you in a negative way. You can play that game of coming to interpret the intentions and the energy and the frequency of this song and allow it to be interesting, allow it to be a fun game to dissect the negative messages in both this pop music and also in your media in general.
Great suggestion. Thank you so much. Annie has a question about the role of cannabis from a galactic perspective.
Oh, yes.
Previously mentioned, I thought you mentioned it was from Sirius, but she was saying that it had a Pleiadian origin, and she wants to know the best way to utilize this tool in this time, when it was brought to the planet, and why. I think, let me hold on one sec, my chat window is scrolling away from me. Okay, yeah, she, why and when was it brought? How was it related to in other worlds? And what is the best way to utilize this tool in this time? What is the greatest joy of this plant?
Yes, yes. All right, well, this plant was brought to your planet, yes, from Pleiades, in your pre-Atlantean civilizations, which we cannot fully disclose to you at this point, though understand that there was an even previous prior civilization that you may start to hear some word of in the next 10 years. And at this point, this plant was brought to your planet to help serve you in developing your consciousness and as well in opening your heart. It was considered a portal that, as it was left in your world, those who connect with it can also connect with the bringers of that plant and with many other planets where this plant is found. And this plant, in that sense, serves to open the heart and help you relax deeper so that these higher frequency energies can integrate. So the best way, of course, to use this medicine is by ingesting it in oil or butter or cooking it in some way, as you don't fully, for one, absorb all of the beneficial aspects of it by smoking it. And also, the smoking of it does create some sort of toxic cloudy residue in the lungs that then blocks your throat chakra from allowing the full flow of energy from the heart to the brain. And it can feel, in a sense, more powerful when you smoke it because of the immediacy of the effects and because it stays more up in the head where many people are comfortable residing. Though understanding that when you take it in and take it to the heart, the plant can take you on much deeper and profounder journeys. So as well, again, this plant is a permission slip. It helps you tap into those states of relaxation, ease, and connection to those higher realms. And when you start to implement its teachings and recreate that state in your own right, asking the plant to show you, how can I better relax? How can I better let go? How can I remember that all of the doorways to these other realms and beings are always open, always around me? The plant will give you messages, and it can be your job then to implement them and find ways that you can create that relaxed and open state that the plant facilitates all of the time. And if you do that, the plant can then be an occasional helper to take you deeper. Though if you need it in order to access the state that you prefer, the plant is not being a teacher as much as it is being a crutch. So you must really come to learn the difference and come to do your own part of the work of opening yourself in order for the plant to fully work. And well, it is a synchronistic manifestation that is coming through the channel now of the coughing. And this coughing is representing the sort of a chronic experience that some can have, and emphasizing how, while this is a plant that it serves to open your heart, when you start to block again that flow of energy in your lungs with smoke continuously, it will gradually over time have a heavy impact on your being.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And then the last part, like, what is the greatest joy of the plant that the plant can bring?
Oh, yes. Well, the greatest joy would be reveling in nature. Reveling in nature and reveling in your connection with each other. As again, it opens the heart. It opens many of these pleasure receptors as well. And it can show you how all acts of pleasure can be interdimensional portals. That the more you relish in those feelings of joy and pleasure that connect you with others in both human form and the world around you, the plant can open up interdimensional portals. And of course, if you take it and simply relax and meditate, those same portals can open. And then when you connect in that open way with others and other sorts of activities, the plant can show you even more. Oh, and a final thing we would say is, again, remember that many of the strains have been modified to have this higher content of THC, which is again a sort of disbalanced state. It creates a more head-based effect, whereas really the core benefit of this plant comes from the heart. And so the more natural and less altered the strains of the plant that you find, the more beneficial they will be for you.
Great. Do you have guidance on where to find the least altered versions of the plant?
Oh, you will find your ways.
Great. Oh, well, I have a question. I think I'll just stop and take this opportunity to ask it. It's kind of a broken record question. I think I've asked it before, but different nuances are kind of coming in. So I live with 3 people that I really, really love, and we're all kind of in a position of being one body. together in this pandemic time. And it feels like if I had total freedom, I would just want to be, I mean, not ridiculously unbounded, but I'd want to hug my close friends, and I'd want to still gather with certain groups and sing, and I'd want to be more touchy than I am being. And yet I know that we are all one body in a way, and we are in this house like one body, and we're all responsible to each other. And our elderly parents that could be more, at risk if they were to get the COVID-19. And and there's so much information in the media about, I just wonder, like, how much are they not giving us real information? Are they making it seem way more dangerous? Or is it wise to be physically distancing from people in this time? Yeah, because it just feels, my heart just feels really kind of contracted. It's hard to be the fullness of who I am while feeling like I have to, stay away from people I love.
Yes. Well, yes, the media is exaggerating this to a very large degree. And again, as we have said before, there is the great probability of getting, uncomfortably sick from this. There is the probability in general of people with compromised immune systems and those who are elderly passing from this. Though if you mostly keep distance from those individuals, then contracting the disease itself would mostly be a minor inconvenience for most of you. So, while of course you do not want to spread it, you do not need to believe all of the hype, because while of course there is a real disease that is spreading and there is a reason to be cautious, remember the strategy of the media is always to keep you in a fear-based state and to gain profit through the intense swings of your emotions. So it is all right and good to let go of many of those fears. And we understand that you must, in a way, have these agreements with all of those you live with. So if you are able to break through, to gain more allowance, for you to be, in that sense, freer, we don't see that much harm would come from it.
Even with the elderly parents?
Well, again, keep your distance from them is generally wise if you have been recently in contact with many people.
Okay. I also feel like there's a way to use the sense of, like, the grief that I feel in the disconnection from the physical with people to go deeper into my own DNA and perhaps look at the places in my own DNA where the link from self to self is broken in such a way.
Yes.
So it feels like an opportunity to work on that. And then perhaps as I work on the inner, I'll be able to have a more fluid guidance system to navigate the outer. Kind of.
Yes, most certainly.
Okay, thanks so much.
For so many of you, it is an invitation to turn inward. And when you use it as that opportunity to work on yourself, to expand your own personal connection to all that is good and well in you, and to affirm you are capable, affirm your talents, and in a way maintain that equilibrium in your inner reality as you come to meet others more, it will be a more expanded connection, a more expanded self that you bring to all of those relations.
Oh, beautiful. Cool. Okay, I've got some questions from Facebook. Carrie Ann, first I want to thank you so much for that answer.
Yes.
Carrie Ann is saying, what's important about, excuse me, what's important about me being in Morocco right now? And will we be forced to leave when the borders open by the government?
Well, to be there offers you a very different take on your culture. To experience this very different, in some senses more open, in other senses more constricted culture, will allow you to see the ways that your own belief systems have been limited by the conditioning you've accepted from your culture. And it will also allow you to take greater thanks for those things that you do truly appreciate with your culture. We do see that you will have some more time there if you choose. And when it is time to leave, you will also know and be able to move on to something even more expanded through using the time that you have gained as a very valuable lesson and an experience that will very much always be with you.
Great. Thank you so much. And Emily wants to know about your teachings in how to access soul vision.
Soul
I'm
vision.
assuming that means like life purpose of the soul, something like that.
Can we ask the questioner to be a little bit more specific and move on to another question? I'll come back.
Yes, absolutely. Emily, if you are listening, could you type in some specifics so we could better understand your question? Thanks. Okay. And then let's see if I have any more Facebook questions here. Okay, so is there anyone in the live Zoom room who has a question at this time? Because I don't see any more Facebook questions.
I do.
Hello,
okay,
yes.
Go ahead and ask.
Cool. Something that I'm struggling with is I have been picking up a lot of energies that are not mine. I feel that strongly. And with that, I am also dealing with my own blockages. I am working to release them, but I'm having a hard time. It feels like for every release I take, I pick up something twice as challenging. So in what ways would you recommend that we clear tension and blockages that is being stored in the body?
So when you say you're taking energies, where and from whom are you taking those energies?
I am not exactly sure. I want to say that it's the collective tension of what is going on right now. And I feel it in my body, mostly in my chest and back area.
All right. Yes. And so do you take this on when you go out in public or when you pick up the phone and look at your internet, or what is it?
Sometimes I'll feel it from not doing any of those things. I would just notice that I am feeling irritated towards my surrounding, whereas nothing really caused it.
All right. So there is a great collective pressure that is bringing out this frustration within this greater limitation. We would say that focus less on the idea of taking on energy from others and more on what belief systems are causing you to feel this pressure. Can you pinpoint any specific ones?
In that case, I think it would be some of my own, and the beliefs would be feeling like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but also feeling like there isn't really a safer place for me to be.
Yes. How could you not be where you are supposed to be?
I'm trying to figure that out. I guess I have moved because of COVID. My partner and I left where we were before and are now in a new place, and
Yes.
just adjusting to that.
Well, understand that there's always a purpose to everything that happens in your experience. And sometimes the purpose is to show you more clearly what your preferences are. Yet even in those experiences of learning what you truly prefer and what's really working for you, there is much that you gain from challenging experiences. So in those moments, if you can shift your focus to find gratitude for the aspects of your present experience you really do enjoy, perhaps you much like certain things about the setting that you can relax into and relish into. That can help you balance out more. And also understanding that in the ups and downs of life, you must first greet these challenges with acceptance and trust that your emotions are guiding you to more powerful experiences. So again, it is in not resisting those emotions. If you are feeling anger and frustration, then allow it to vent. Allow yourself to yell or to journal or to take a run and exercise. Anything that helps you to release that charge, and know that nothing is wrong with you for feeling those emotions. It is simply just the process of awakening, of becoming clearer.
Thank you. And
does that help you? Yes.
It helps me. I also, so would you say that journaling, running, all of these things, but are there other things that I could do to specifically release the blockages that I feel? Sometimes it feels like I have a rock on my chest and I don't know how to get it out.
Sound would be a very powerful way. So if you get in touch with that and imagine you are breathing into it and then allowing that weight in your chest to bring voice. So from that point, you can sing, you can tone, you can whisper, or you can shout, and allow that energy to speak. Imagine that if you give that energy voice, it can literally move up through your throat, which is known in many traditions as the center of purification, and clear from your channel entirely. So that weight that you are feeling needs to be given a voice, and that is why it continues to sort of ask for your attention.
Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Thanks to you as well.
Great, and I've got a bunch more questions on from the Facebook stream, but I have to go run and grab my phone where the questions are. So I'll be back in like
All right.
2 minutes.
If somebody else has a question to unmute, they may do that.
I have a question to ask.
Yes.
Well, since I've had children, I've like homeschooled them, but mostly unschooled them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel the pressure, like, oh, they should know this or they should know that. So I'm wondering just about that process, and can I let go and just trust that they will know what they will know, and will it actually serve them better to just, radically learn?
Yes. Yes, as long as they are empowered to learn and discover those things that they have great passion to learn, that will in a way give them that leading edge advantage of being in a way sovereign, being able to decide for themselves what is important to them, and learning through that process of making choices and learning from those mistakes that they make along the way. Now, there is, of course, the obstacle of coming to meet other people's criticism. And if you and your children are well equipped for that, in understanding the greater importance of this way of learning and being self-empowered and making your own choices that are not based upon the conditioning of your society, then you will be quite well equipped, and so will they. And also, the other obstacle could be making sure they have as much interaction that they need with other children. While there are certain aspects of the school system, well, not certain, there are many aspects of the school system that impose limited frames of consciousness and negative beliefs. The positive aspect of it is that interaction with many other children that allows them to gain many different social skills. So the more that you can allow them to have other childhood friends and peers and playful times meeting and engaging with others, the more those aspects, their social aspects, will also develop.
Great,
Does that help?
Shanika. Are you complete with that?
Thank you for that answer. And I'm wondering how, I guess, can I specifically like support my children, you know, maybe in gifts they have that are unfolding or anything like that.
Freely giving them total choice in what they learn and discover, and always empowering them to know that they are perfect and unique aspects of creation, and that whatever brings them love and joy is, in a sense, the most important thing in the world. So the more that they free themselves to explore what brings them love and passion and joy, the more they will be capable of serving everyone, including themselves, in the times to come. So also having that trust in them that they can be self-motivated to learn about the things that are really relevant and truly purposeful for them will help them very much. And really beyond that, all you must do is love them unconditionally and empower them to be who they are, trusting in themselves and allowing their free, full expression to be shared with this world.
Well, thank you. I needed to hear that.
Oh, yes, our great thanks to you as well.
Great. Thank you, Shanika. Good luck with that. This is on Facebook. This is from Init Kayorenbu. Christine Hubner is a big name. She says, does cannabis really work against cancer as a cure? Did it
Yes.
have any effect on my mother when she was sick? In her life, she was absolutely against drugs of any kind. She died of ovarian cancer.
Yes, it
Aw.
does help. Though, again, remember, it is the CBD aspect of it that is most helpful. And it cannot be taken alone. So there are many other things that would be very helpful to take along with it. Those things are, well, a couple of them we could say as turkey tail mushrooms, is chaga and reishi and turmeric, generally keeping an alkaline diet. And more than anything, recognizing that the energetic structure of tumors and cancers is self-hate. And the part of the body that the cancer shows up is where that self-hate manifests. So by really living with love and self-love, these things can heal themselves much more quickly and easily. And reflecting to people who suffer from this disease that they are lovable and that you love them, and that despite all that is happening, they must love themselves and not blame themselves. The quicker something like this will cure. Now, of course, you also need sunlight and exercise and proper sleep for something like this as well. And while we named only a couple of these different things that are anti-tumor, there are really so many. And of course, you must remove all sources of toxins that could cause something like this. understanding that for many of you, the toxins are in your very drinking water.
Thanks so much. DCH, would you like to ask a question?
Yes. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
So, hello. So like in my head and stuff, like there's all this like information and like things I want to say and like stuff I want to do and like explanations of exactly what's occurring in my like mind and like what I might want to ask question wise and just in general, like not even like now, but just at any point in my life. Like there's a lot of fast information and it's kind of it's really incredibly frustrating to like, I mean, to like actually articulate the exact thing that I intend to say to get the right thing out. So like, I'm wondering if you guys have any like tips for me that can help me like get it so that I can like actually express more precisely what I intend to say and not be kind of bombarded by these varying like perspectives and ideas all the time, to make it easier for me to like get assistance or just do things in general.
Well, don't you suppose that you say what you need to say every time?
Not really, because sometimes I find that instead of allowing myself to ensure that I'm expressing with the most clarity possible, I like speak kind of in like a hurried way and without expressing that clarity as clearly as possible. And then the listener to me, I think, interprets it in a way that's not exactly as I intended it to be interpreted.
So what is causing you to rush? What is causing you to rush your expression as if it needs to be fit into a certain window?
I can think of a few different reasons why.
All right.
Well, like maybe one example is it's happening right now, but maybe one example is like I am wanting to like I'm speaking, but at the same time I'm kind of behind that is like a sense of like being concerned that I'm not going to be able to express correctly while I'm speaking simultaneously, and then like kind of like get this anxiety feeling as I speak that kind of makes me go like, oh no, I gotta like express it now quickly, and then the whole process of that kind of like gets me sidetracked from like what I was initially intending to say. Does that make sense at all? Does that help?
Yes. Well, the anxiety itself is the stumbling block that can cause you to fumble around. And if you were letting go of all worry of if you expressed it in the right way or if they received it, it would be much easier to simply express freely.
I found that.
What are you really concerned about, even behind the concern of expressing it clearly? If you expressed it incorrectly, are you concerned of how they perceive you? And in which way do you not wish to be perceived?
It's a good question.
We will say that when you can express without processing, express without hesitating, you will find that the first thing that comes out of your mouth is perfect. And now understand, when you say the right thing or the wrong thing without hesitating, if you say the right thing, you will often get rid of that anxiety right away. And if you say the wrong thing, then you will actually be more clearly able to express the right thing, because you already know what the wrong thing is. But waiting and anticipating saying the wrong thing, you almost make it worse to have said anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of the stumbling block. But I think that what I kind of sensed was that when you asked that question before, like a second ago, that I kind of like started to kind of turn the communication into like a mental process in a way, and kind of not really trust that there's a telepathic kind of like energy being transmitted that's beyond just the words. And I think I need to just like let go of thinking about the words and entirely, which is kind of like this kind of like trip for me, but that seems like what it is. So I just gotta keep on practicing that, I suppose.
So if you work with this idea of sound healing and vocal tuning in a way, this can help you get past that hesitation and anxiety. Understanding that the way that you speak, through both the tone, the cadence, and the intention, more importantly than anything, behind all of that is really what is communicating something. So others can, in a sense, feel the nervousness in your voice, and that is a form of communication that translates to them a sort of insecurity, which for some triggers their own insecurity as well. So if you focus more on the way that you spoke and understand that when you say something wrong, but you say it in a relaxed and focused and present way, then you can shift what you were saying very easily. So you can practice this by making sounds and feeling the vibration in your body and using your voice as a way to calm and relax and soothe you.
Cool. Okay. Thank you for that a lot. I would do that.
Oh yes, our great thanks and love to you as well.
Great, thank you. Yeah, DCH, you and my husband probably it would be great for you two to have a chat. He has the very same issues. You're both very loving beings, so I honor that process. So there is a question from Lauren, and she says, I have observed a pattern of betrayal in my life. I realize I need to use more discernment when making decisions, though it is difficult because I naturally see the best in people, which don't always have the best of intentions. I don't regard myself as naive. Am I overly trusting? What am I doing to perpetuate this cycle?
Yes. Well, in the sense, being over trusting does have to do with being, in a way, imbalanced towards the positive polarity. And well, we as Pleiadians know this quality very much, as this has been our past. Entire civilizations have been built and then crumbled through focusing only on the positive in our world. So we understand. And we would say that what is helpful is to practice a game of looking at the negative and positive things. For example, some countries have universal health care, but that also leads to other complications. It is, in general, a positive thing, but in order to get into an even better system, the complications have to be addressed. You can see that perhaps one moment. One moment. All right. So, yes, when you get comfortable with those negative qualities and everything, even seeing certain negative qualities in yourself, you can come to be able to see both sides of everybody. And instead of only focusing on what is good within them, you can see the ways that fear-based beliefs are alive within them. You can see the ways that there can be self-serving agendas behind it. And do not always say yes. Remember that sometimes when you are imbalanced towards this positive energy all the time, you want to say yes because you believe that saying yes makes you better. Though when you say yes, it is harder to say no. Though when you start with maybe and wait till you feel a full yes and you come to ask yourself, am I saying this yes due to my desire to be good? Or am I making this yes because what I'm saying yes to fully resonates with my passion, fully resonates with my values, and fully resonates with my logical aspects as a good decision through making a good bond with this other person. And when you do that, you can make these better decisions, and you can use all of these past experiences as ways that you learn to make more positive decisions as well. And in that sense, you can even ask yourself, if you knew what you are coming to discover now back then, what would have gone differently? Without, in a way, making it wrong that you did that, because of course you needed those as lessons. But seeing those new choice points will then help you in the future in certain circumstances, choosing what is truly relevant and helpful for you.
Great, thank you. Lauren, is there any other part of that question that you need clarification on? You can type it in the chat. Just hold that space, or if you want, just type complete. We'll move on if there's no other aspect. Okay. All right. So we have a question about the life of Yeshua ben Joseph. And Yvonne is wondering if when Yeshua ben Joseph was on the earth, if he channeled his higher self and guides.
Well, yes. Yes, he was, well, deeply in connection with higher self, because again, higher self is source, or what is known as God. And there were many connections with angels, and actually in the hidden stories that have not been told, the Yeshua knew himself to be Arcturian in nature, knew himself to hold an Arcturian template. And there were these sort of astral travel experiences that allowed him to bring that energy into this reality.
Wow.
And to use it to embody the teachings he was meant to share with the world at that time.
Okay, wow. I have a follow-up. I had heard that the Yeshua family came from Andromeda. Is that not correct?
Well, there are connections between Arcturus and Andromeda, yes. So he had both coatings. and worked mainly with the Arcturian frequency to do what he needed to do.
Great. Okay. Heather, I see your question. Yeah, I got thrown off because my battery went down, and so things are a little bit weird. So you don't see an unmute button, huh? It's possible that I'm just not able to bring you into the chat. Let me try and see if I can get you in here with a microphone. Yeah, right now your attendee. Hold on one moment, Dante. Sorry for this. Pleiadians. Right. Oh, I see you. I see you, Heather. I'm going to bring you in. Let's see. Actually, I don't see you on the list here. I wonder why that is. Can you just type in your question, Heather, and I'll be glad to ask it for you. Okay. We'll wait for Heather's question. While we're waiting for Heather's question, is there anyone else who has a question? Okay, I've got a question. My question is just about during the next lockdown, if we do have a lockdown in November, I would love to spend part of it in Mexico. And my mom is like deathly afraid that I'm going to be like shot by some drug cartel people. She's really afraid of it. And I'm just wondering if there's any way to help my mom get over her fears and trust that I'd be okay if I went to Mexico.
Well, one suggestion would be to connect her with others who have been in Mexico. Perhaps you simply pick up some pictures and stories on social media from people who have traveled there and send them to her and just reaffirm to her that people do this all the time. And by having that affirmation, you can, in a way, console her fears. You won't totally erase them. And in that sense, that is a lesson for you to be an independent agent and not base your actions on how they will affect others when you realize that it is their belief systems that are turning a positive action into something that generates fear.
Okay, I understand. All right. Joaquin has a question, and we're waiting for Heather's. Worldwide, a large amount of stone balls with different sizes were found. Could you explain their purpose, please? Stone balls were also found around the pyramids in Bosnia. Interesting.
Oh, yes. Well, these were different tools used for divination and used for different ceremonial purposes. And they do have that frequency of those past times. You can use it to connect with them. And they were used in a sense to meditate, to hold certain frequencies that helped those civilizations remember even more distant past and higher dimensional connections.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're waiting for Heather's question. And I'm going to look on Facebook as well. See if we have any from Facebook. Yeah, it looks like we're pretty complete up to this moment. We're just waiting for Heather's question. Does anybody else have a question they'd like to ask? I can always fill in. I always have a million questions.
All right.
So
it
you
looks
had
like
said,
Heather asked the question on the chat.
Thank you. I see it now. Beautiful. Okay. I wanted to ask about the sale of my inn. I have been envisioning myself after the sale and creating a new vision of my life. That said, I had a man come yesterday and offer me cash for 2 of the buildings. I hesitated because he had been drinking. Is this a real offer? And do I need to be concerned about letting this creation go to his hands? Also, am I to keep the spa portion of the business and continue to work with this aspect and expand it? It seems not all of the staff that have come forth are very proficient Shah woman and healers, and we are co-creating something new and healing for the planet. Okay.
We would invite you then to investigate the backstory of this person more, perhaps get to know him on other occasions and see if it may work out, especially if you do keep a portion of it. You want to be fully certain in your connection with those who have some of the buildings. And as for the continuation of working in the spa, well, that can be something that you investigate if it is truly relevant to your passion and a way that your own healing gifts manifest and a way for you to connect with community. That can be something that really serves you. So understand in these trial runs and these different tests and experiences, you are in a way vacillating between many different realities and getting a sense of which one really serves you and feels best for you. Understanding, of course, that many planets are retrograde at this point. So it is a time for reflection and seeing and taking in your options and understanding that when the time is right, the decisions will be made. So your heart knows, and do not make any decisions prematurely until all of your heart says yes. That's what we would say.
Thank
Great.
you.
Great, I got you. We can hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you, Sarah.
Does that answer your
You're
question?
welcome.
Is that helpful?
It is. It's very helpful. I do have a second part of the question,
Yes.
too. A gentleman checked in as well. He's been with me for 5 days at the inn, but a big energy for me, and I could feel it in my solar plexus the whole time, just trying to work through that energy. But, and you know, the work, telling me stories about his work, which was very spiritual, but
Yes.
just wondering if you could clarify that connection and our meeting and the energy between us. Was I helping him heal? Was I to see something in him?
It is a co-creative experience. So there are certain ways that you are certainly helping him, and there are other things that you may learn from him. And some of the things you aren't going to actually realize in the moment, but as you look back on the whole experience at a later point in your future, you will be able to extract those lessons. So if you continue to connect with this individual and inquire perhaps with him, what is the purpose of this connection and what would you like to share deeper, you may come to discover more nuances and more explorations and exchanges emerging. If he is open to meditating together, that may be a helpful way to allow some of that energy to emerge.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, our thanks to you as well. Are we complete then?
I believe we are complete. Thank you so much, Pleiadian Council.
We thank each and every one of you and all of you together as a whole in your sharing and reflection with us. It has been a great gift and pleasure for us to come to meet you in this way. And we end again by affirming this universal truth that you are one with all that is. You are a complete aspect of creation, and your unique gifts, your unique talents, and your unique ways of expressing yourself are all perfect and necessary for this creation to expand. So when you come to remember that all of your self-doubt is but an illusion, and you choose to see beyond it, to see the higher truth of your infinite worthiness and value, and act upon it. Don't just think about it, but take actions that represent it. What would a version of yourself who believes you are infinitely worthy and valuable and beautifully an artful and powerful manifestation of Source do? What would that version of yourself do? How would they act? Ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself what you would really do if you had no belief systems that cause you fear or restriction. And see if you can take those actions and live in your world rather, in ways that represent true passion and courage to be exactly who you are. And remembering that as you do this, that everybody is just as valuable, just as unique, just as powerful a manifestation of Source as you. And when you again transcend all of those perceptions of higher and lower and see everybody as that perfect expression of Source, you'll be able to flow without that hesitating and comparing mind that slows the process down. And yes, you can be free to live without doubt, to live in total love in an age of love, and trust that the outer chaos is but a distraction. And the outer chaos is an invitation for you to know that your unique way of being yourself is a gift to the rest of the world, to one person at a time. Help others find the inner sanctuary. Find the inner sanctuary where, regardless of what is happening outside, inside you know yourself to be love. You know yourself to be loved. And you know yourself to be powerful and capable of doing exactly what you need to do. We love you very much then, and we thank you again, and we will be with you whenever you invite us in, as will all of your other guides, and know that it is as simple as paying closer attention and making that invitation and remembering the frequency of love. And many angels, extraterrestrials, nature spirits, ancestors, the whole kit and caboodle of interdimensional forces of love can be with you at any moment. We thank you very much, and then wish you a very pleasant day.
That was beautiful. Welcome back.
Yay.
Oh, that last message was so beautiful.
Oh, very grateful.
Yeah.
How's
My
everybody?
battery went out, so I've got the recording in 2 pieces on Zoom.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll see. If the Facebook video is good, we can just use that. We'll just
Okay.
see.
Or we can use both. If you send me all of them, we can patch it together using the higher quality parts. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was a good channeling. Yeah, using the higher quality recordings and then using the Facebook for the middle part. It's no problem for me to do that.
Oh, really?
Send it
Okay.
over.
I'll just
Yeah,
send
I can
everything
easily
to
do
you.
that. Cool.
Okay. That's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, everyone. It was a
Thanks for
wonderful
participating, everybody. It was really good and
Yeah.
always a pleasure. And my internet package didn't go out, so we know that
my power went out, so
we know that 2 hours
Yours held
on
on.
Zoom. 2 hours on Zoom is enough for 1.5 gigabytes. That's good. Yeah,
Good deal.
and I'm available for sessions, and I don't know what else to say. Is there anything else to say?
Not really, just well, we're looking for someone to host this call next week because I won't be in town.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
If anybody wants to be the host, that'd be great. All you need is a computer, and I can make the call and then make you the host. And you just need to be able to like mute and unmute to record it and upload it ideally. And
if you want to talk to me,
very naughty.
We had no naughty people today. Yay!
We never had naughty people. We just had a bomb last time.
We just had that weird Republic of Peru bomb. It was weird. But yeah, you can also contact me and I can just show you the ropes. It's really easy and it's fun. It's always a great time.
Yeah. And I feel like there's something more. Oh yeah, sharing the video is really helpful, and if you just share it to like a lot of the light worker healer Facebook groups, it's super great. It allows the channel to expand. Sharing the YouTube channel, really helpful. It's a growing community, so your support in that is really appreciated. And did you guys hear weird sounds in the background here? I'm curious about
just
how
the
much.
kids.
But were you hearing them consistently?
No, I think there were quiet times, and they weren't too loud. It was just kind of thumping and
it happened.
Talking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I need to talk to them about that. Okay. I'm doing private channelings. Yeah, that's what I'm saying when I'm offering sessions. I do private channelings on Zoom, so you can look at my website or contact me about that. And
Oh, let's see. Lauren, I'm going to type my email to you right now.
If anybody else wants to say hi or pop on in the last moments, welcome to do so.
There it is. Yeah, email me, Lauren. It's cool. All right. Much love. I guess we're signing off. And oh yeah, so our new time is Friday at 11. 11. And then we try to go live by 11:11, but sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.